Hey guys, Tad here from Attack of the Killer podcast. It's been a while. Haven't done a new video for the Patreon subscribers for quite some time, which is mostly because I just haven't bought anything new. Been pretty busy getting ready for the Snake Alley Festival film here in 2 months from today. No pressure. But I wanted to come jump back in and do a few new videos, and I wanted to do something a little bit different because like I said, I haven't bought anything new recently as far as toys go, and I feel like, maybe that's just, I don't know, I need to take a break from that anyways, because I don't need to do the same thing over and over again. But today is Easter, and I was trying to think of something fun to do, and I thought I want to talk about a movie sort of relating to Easter in a very, very, very small way. It's actually more of a Halloween movie because it takes place in that time of the year. But I always think of this movie around this time of the year, and that movie is Donnie Darko. And I wanted to do maybe I'll do a couple more videos about movies that sort of mean a lot to me, influenced me, changed how I viewed movies, changed how I viewed life, maybe. It's probably pretty heavy, but yeah, I was going to just talk a little bit about Donnie Darko. Even though it's not technically a horror movie, I feel like it falls into our world, and it's a genre film that people love. A lot of people really hate it. I've heard a lot of hate. A lot of younger people younger than me, really hate it because they think it makes no sense. But I can't go like a whole video without showing toys and stuff, so I was going to sort of go through my Donnie Darko collection. As you can see, I have a Donnie Darko shirt, one of my favorites. It glows in the dark. I have probably 3 or 4 other Donnie Darko shirts, but this one's my favorite. I usually wear it on Easter. I think it's been 2 years. 2 years ago we did I can't remember if it's 1 or 2 years ago, but we did a screening of Donnie Darko at the Capitol, and it was one of my favorites we've ever done. It was just a blast. I love seeing it finally on the big screen. I wasn't lucky enough to see it in the original release, and then they re-released it as director's cut once it sort of became a cult classic, directed by Richard Kelly. I saw this movie because I have an older brother who's shown me a lot of movies he probably shouldn't have, but this one came right at the right time. I saw this one pretty close to when it came out on DVD. I don't even really remember how I came about it. Maybe he just said, hey, you should check this out. We watched it together. I don't really remember the first time, but it was one of those movies that you see and then you instantly turn around and want to show it to all of your friends because it sort of blows your mind, and you think, man, my friends have to see this. It's going to blow their mind too. And for the most part, I was right. My friends really latched onto it. All the people I showed it to, we were right at that right stage. We were sort of emo kids that were all in bands and hung out, and it just hit the right nerve at the right time. So it was perfect for us, but man, I love that movie. I love all the performances from both the Gyllenhaals. The score is fantastic. The soundtrack is fantastic. The cinematography, direction, screenplay, everything about that movie is perfect to me. As far as the theatrical cut, that is, I won't go deep into the director's cut, which is fine. But yeah, like I said, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Probably in my top 10. Absolutely love it. Probably seen it 100 times or so. So I'm just going to go through some of the stuff I have. I have the NECA Cult Classics 7-inch figure. It comes with, the base that has the Roberta Sparrow mailbox and a little piece of mail, and it also comes with the Frank head, the human head without the mask with the hole in his eye. Spoiler alert. But if you're watching this, I hope you've seen Donnie Darko. If not, turn this off and go watch Donnie Darko. And then NECA came out probably a year later with the full-size 12-inch Frank with all the same accessories, and it has some sound effects. I don't know if this one still works or not. I haven't checked the batteries in a long time. We'll see. Nope. The batteries need change, or maybe it'll work. Oh. Still works.
Don't worry. You got away with it.
This movie has so many cool quotes that, an angsty teenager absolutely will write on their notebooks, and I know so many people who have that tattoo of the days and the countdown till the end of the world. I think I've reviewed these on here before, the Dorbs, the Funko Dorbs. I have so much Donnie Darko stuff, but I still don't have the Donnie with a hood. I think there's one, and then I think there's a Frank without his mask. There's 2 different exclusive ones that I don't have, and I should probably just get on eBay and bite the bullet, because these don't fetch a lot of money on the aftermarket, so I should just go for the variants and buy them. But anyways, I reviewed those, I think, on here before. And then one of my first things I bought many years ago was this costume. It came with the full bunny body part, the body suit, and this, and I wore it out one year for Halloween with my wife, who was a hit girl at the time, which not really a couple's costume, but we didn't do that at the time. And either people loved it and thought, man, that's cool, they recognized it, or people were just sort of freaked out because it's a scary bunny. And then when we had the screening at the Capitol, I picked up this version, which is way more accurate, way better in every aspect. It has much better profiles. You can see this one is very flat and sort of floppy and gross. The ears don't stick up. It's not very accurate. This one, up close, the details are sort of, the paint apps aren't great. But overall, this one, it's like $25 with free shipping on Amazon Prime, and it's very accurate, very creepy, very cool. I love it. So yeah, we wore that. We had someone wear that at our screening, and people could get some Easter pictures with them. And then I, of course, owned the original DVD, and then they put out the collector's edition with the director's cut for the first time a couple years later, and I was so excited for that, and put it in, and it was not good. It's sort of, I describe it best as Donnie Darko for dummies. It sort of has scenes that were filmed to put in between the scenes, trying to sort of explain the movie's plot and how the time travel works. And to me, one of the coolest parts about this movie is how everybody watches it and has a different interpretation of how and what is happening. And to me, when a movie starts a conversation, even if it's not necessarily positive, people are talking about it, it's done its job. But this one always, I feel like, especially when I would show it to friends, the movie's credits would start, and we'd all sort of look at each other, and the discussion would begin, and we could stay up until 2 a.m., arguing over points of the story, the plot. And I love and cherish those nights. Like I said, we would pop in a movie. I'd have, a small group of friends over who love movies, and maybe this movie has some of that nostalgia for me because it was such a great time. It was right around it was like I said, in high school, when I had a big group of friends that we'd always, gather around and have movie nights at my house. And this one was one I just was so excited to show those guys, and I still feel like I can pop it in and I can almost say it word for word. I probably can say it word for word, and I just adore this movie. And but right around that time, we did the theatrical screening. So I think, like I said, I think it's been 2 years ago, but man, time flies. It could have been last year. I don't know. But the reason they were putting it out was it was an anniversary. So they re-released it in theaters in a remastered 4K cut, and Arrow Video released this gnarly Blu-ray set. As you can see, 3 cases, gorgeous set, and so many special features. Brand new 4K restoration of the theatrical cut and director's cut from the original film negatives. Has new audio commentary, has all kinds of stuff in here. Alternate scenes, deleted scenes. One of my favorite things, the only thing I would say actually I like about the director's cut, is that they brought Kevin Smith in with Richard Kelly to do the commentary. And if you're watching this video, I'm sure you know Kevin Smith loves to talk. So having him on a commentary for a movie that's not his is actually so much better. I love Kevin Smith. I've seen Kevin Smith live several times, go see all of his movies, support the man. He can be a little much for me, but having him on another movie's commentary was very interesting, and he gushed a little bit. I sort of wished and I think this might have been the first time he saw the director's cut. I'd be curious to see what he has to say about the director's cut now, because overall the fans sort of absolutely hate that version. And whether you agree or disagree, post in the comments down here. Let us know. But so yeah, this has the theatrical cut in 4K, the director's cut in 4K, and then the bonus features. And I'll probably never watch the director's cut on here unless like I said, I watch it for that commentary. But yeah, when I started filming this video for our Patreon subscribers, which I didn't even thank you in the beginning, so as always, thank you. There's probably 2 or 3 new ones since I last recorded a video, so thank you, Chris Cook. I remember your name off the top of my head. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting anyone else, but we really do appreciate all of our Patreon subscribers. It makes filming these videos worth it. Makes doing the bonus episodes worth it. It's so much fun to do this podcast, and we wouldn't do it unless you guys were helping us out, because we try to reach the biggest audience we can. We want to bring content to people, but if there's no one on the other end, what is it all for? So thank you again. But when I started filming this video, I got all set up and grabbed all my cool Donnie Darko stuff, and I did forget, I have a few other things. I have the soundtrack and stuff like that, and more shirts, but I didn't even think about the fact that, like, right over here, and see if I can do this without tipping my phone, but you can see I have a Donnie Darko poster right here, and that is an angry blue screen print. It glows in the dark too, one of my favorites. There's some really cool Donnie Darko screen prints out there, and I wish I had more, and I wish I had more room to display more Donnie Darko stuff, but I don't need to be buying more posters right now until I get some stuff framed. But anyways, this movie, like I said, was so influential on me for so many different reasons. I felt like Donnie was sort of, in that movie, represented someone my age, and he was, angsty, an angsty teenager going through some shit, and at the time, so was I, and so were so many of my friends. He just sort of fit the bill. The movie was very deep at the time. I love a good slasher, but I also like to have a good think sometimes. That one makes you really, really think. And some people will watch this movie and absolutely hate it because they think it's pretentious art house bullshit, and I get that. I completely understand. When we screened it at the Capitol a few years ago, we had some first timers that were seeing it at the theater on the big screen. And I was so jealous that they got the experience on the big screen for the first time. But I also sort of talked to some of them afterwards and asked them what they thought of it, and they're like, I don't really get why you are so crazy over this movie. And it didn't break my heart. I completely understand, especially if I asked a few older people, and the timing was just perfect for this movie for me. Just the dialogue between the teenagers felt so real. Donnie's sort of dive into depression was so real to me. Frank was obviously creepy. The soundtrack was perfect. It just hit all the notes for me, and it still does. I absolutely love Donnie Darko. Actually, sort of makes me laugh because when my niece was first born, her first Easter, I brought the Donnie Darko costume over to my mom's house, and we took an Easter picture with her in my lap. She was just a baby, so she didn't, she was so young that it wasn't even like to the stage where it could be scary to her. And then last year I wore the costume, the new one that I have, this guy, to my mom's, and we recreated the picture. And she was nervous at first because now she's conscious and old enough to know that this is very scary. But she's grown up around me and my wife and my friends, and she has a love for all things creepy and dark. So we did get her convinced that it was fine. I was just wearing the mask, and actually how we got her to do it was to put on the mask, which is funny. But we recreated the picture, and I think we'll probably do that, not again this year, but maybe in another 4 or 5 years, keep doing that picture, and I think it'd be fun. But like I said, I'm not going to talk too much about the plot of the movie because you've probably seen it, and I would love to have it be a part of an episode of the podcast. Have it be one of the films that we watch for something, maybe a time travel episode or something. But I'll have to go back through the master list and see what they've done before my time on the podcast, because Andy and I always have these ideas. We're like, hey, have you done this? And then Jason's like, why didn't you check the list? Why haven't you listened to all the episodes? So, sorry, Jason, if you've already done Donnie Darko. I want to do Donnie Darko again. I'll just do my own podcast. I'd love to do a commentary for it myself. But I've been curious to see what the other guys think of this movie, because we haven't really discussed it too much. I can't think of a time where we even really talked about Donnie Darko. But I absolutely love this movie, and I really hope, since Funko has the license, they did these. I'd like some Donnie Darko pops. I want Donnie Darko everything. The more the merrier for me. I love this movie. But, like I said, if you haven't seen Donnie Darko, I'm not sure why you're watching this in the first place, but it's a fantastic drama about time travel and a Easter Bunny who convinces a young angsty teen to flood his school and burn down a pedophile's house, and in the end he sacrifices himself for the better of someone and those he loves. So and I'm sure people are watching this and going, how did you get that out of that movie? And that's okay. I'd love to discuss it with you sometime. But yeah, I think I would love to do a series where I just sort of blabber on like I am right now about movies that influence me, that I love. And like I said, today being Easter that I'm recording this, it won't, I'll upload it, but it won't drop on Easter. But I thought today would be the perfect time to sort of talk about this movie and why I love it so much, and give it some praise. So that's my little blabber about Donnie Darko. Let's watch it together. Let's do a commentary. Let's do something. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting our Patreon. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. And I guess I'll see you next time on Attack of the Killer Podcast.